What up? Welcome to OZone Live, the second episode of A Christian and an Atheist Walk into a Bar. And this, for the most part, will typically focus on evangelism and do Christians actually walk up to people like at a restaurant or a bar or in the mall, wherever, and really say the dumb shit we hear here on the YouTubes. Here's my contingency argument for God. I never heard that shit, and all the training and everything that I went through for street ministry, witnessing to friends and whatnot. They didn't learn me that shit. They didn't learn me none of it. So that's kind of what we'll focus on with this, because, like I've said before, I prefer to focus on the everyday Christians that the everyday conversations that we would have with your average lay Christian that maybe is in our family or is associated with our sphere of influence or whatnot, because that's what most of us in our day-to-day life, that's what we're going to run into, right? Those are conversations that we're going to have. So one or two things here, and then I have a little Vigia pulled up and ready to go as I wait for folks to join in. But anybody can join, and we can start the conversation, have the conversation, whatever. But obviously, if any theists want to jump in, they'll have priority. But give me uno momento while I put the link up here. And while we're waiting, hold on, before I put that link up here, there's a couple of things that in the chat I wanted to point out. But what's up, everybody in the chat? Thanks for hanging out. But this right here is the already, and we're just started. Actually, this comment was made before the stream even started. But Aunt Kathy got Fireball and Sprite, and that is fucking epic. Yeah. Aunt Kathy throwing one back. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. We are family. That actually used to be on my soundboard. I don't know why I ever took that off. Oh, well.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. That one makes me think of Jena.
Oh, baby.
Anyhow, any hoot. Any hoot. All right, now let's get down to business. I ain't got no time to play around. What is this? Must be a circus in town. Let's shut this shit down. Can I get a witness? And that's your, yep, that's your entertainment while we wait. And that's your, Jack Daniels and coffee. That's an all-nighter drink right there. That's an all-nighter. It's like when I see people at the bar, at the comedy club, doing like Tito's and like Tito's or like a light rum with fucking Red Bull. Ooh. Ooh. I like them all separately, but that together just sounds disgusting. All right, almost done. Almost done. Boom. Boom. Shakalaka. Whoop. There it is. All right, that is finito. Finito. So the link, if you want to join, is at the pin at the top. Like I said, anybody can join, but if any theists want to join, they have priority because we're talking about evangelism, specifically Christian evangelism, because I was formerly a Christian. I know more about that than I do the others, but I'm willing to talk to whomever. But in the meantime, I do have this little vidya, and it is 7 powerful tips on how to share your faith with any unbeliever. Are we ready? One more drink before we hear this nonsense. Yeah, yeah.
Sharing your faith with an unbeliever can be one of the most intimidating and daunting experiences for any believer, no matter how long or short you have been a Christian. So in this video, I want to give you 7 very practical tips and strategies for how you can share your faith with any unbeliever. That's coming up today on The Beat.
Yeah, and I already see it in the chat. Yes, oh Lord, it's this guy. He's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I'm gonna go out on a limb, like all the way to the end of the limb, like where it's getting ready to snap. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that he thought that this was like very prophetic and like so directly from God, kind of like the Bible, that there's a reason that it's 7 powerful tips, but just the tip.
Hey, my friend, welcome back to The Beat. My name is Alan Parr. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time here, it's a pleasure. If you want a free ebook, click the link in the description box below. If you enjoy this video, consider subscribing. Hit that little bell notification so you won't miss a beat. Okay, so I'm not going to waste your time. Here are 7 very practical tips.
Already lying. Yes, you are going to waste your time. I wondered if anybody caught that. Of course, my beautiful girlfriend caught that. We do have a super chat real quick before I say this. Bottoms up, motherfuckers. my money on my mind. Laid back. First of all, thank you, Meet, for the support. $5 super ooper chat. How to share your faith with an unbeliever. This is the one I'm with Meet. There's one powerful tip. Don't. No, really. Just don't. What's up, Meet? Thanks for hanging out with us. Again, thanks for the support. Appreciate it. And then I just wanted to say, so I did see a few more people jump in. Carlita, what's up? Jen and I both just enjoy saying your name almost as much as I enjoy saying this name. Everybody, welcome to the chat. Tighten your anus. I now hope that your anus has been tightened.
Tips and strategies for how you can share your faith with an unbeliever, because let's face it, that along with making disciples is the very reason why Jesus left us here. And tip number one is to understand that we cannot save anyone, but only God can. As a matter of fact, Ephesians chapter 2.
Hold on, stop. Pump brakes. If only God can do it, why the fuck are you talking about it? Why are you witnessing? Why are you evangelizing? Why? If you don't have the secret sauce, you don't have the secret potion, you don't have the evidence, why the fuck is you talking about it? Why the fuck is you even talking about it? If you can't change the mind, if you can't do the convincing, why the fuck are you talking about it? What Juicy say? Shut the fuck up. That's what you should do. Shut the fuck up. Just saying. Just saying. What's up, Jason? And who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? What's up, Bar? What's up, bro? Good to see you, man. But we need to do. It's been a long time, bro. We need to do a little cipher. And get the homie Blathius on here too. Have a little party. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But no, I'm with y'all. This guy gets on my nerves too. But it's usually the ones that get on your nerves the most. They do it because they say the dumbest shit. So.
Verse 1 says, and you were dead in your trespasses and sins in which you once walked. And so Paul here is describing our previous condition before we came to Christ. And he uses this word dead. And so I want you to just imagine for just a moment, if you were to go down.
So these are the 7 most powerful tips in order to evangelize to the unbeliever. And your first one is telling them that they're shit. We're off to a great start. We're off to a great start. We did we have to celebrate this shit right here. Hold on. We do have a new brand new channel member as of right now. Jason, thank you very much for your support and becoming a member of the Atheist Network group channel membership program thing, whatever it's supposed to be called officially, I don't know, but thank you for supporting. We love it. We appreciate it. Thank you. Sipping on gin and juice. My money, my money, my money. Yeah, I'm still waiting for that feature though, bro. Still waiting for that feature though. No, but I feel you. I got looking at my whiteboard right now. I have a so far. I think there's probably gonna be 14, but a 13 song track list for the one I've been on the low working on. It's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a banger. All right, back to the business.
Down to the local cemetery, and you were to provide the clearest, most convincing proof and description of Christianity, and just you laid out the gospel very clearly. The sad reality is that no one in that cemetery would even be able to comprehend and understand a word that is coming out of your mouth. Why? Because they are dead. They are unable to respond to anything that you are saying. Paul says, in the same way, before we came to Christ, we were dead. We were unable to respond to anything spiritually. So if someone doesn't get saved whenever you share your faith, don't blame yourself. Don't think that you weren't prepared. It could very well be that God has not quickened that person's heart yet, and their heart is very hardened towards the things of God. And it's only when God quickens their heart when they will be able to respond to whatever you are saying. So, number one, know that you and I cannot save anybody. It has to be a work of God. Okay, tip number two, before we get to the really, really good ones, is know the gospel. Now, I know that seems very...
Ay. Well, you got one thing right. Yet if you go out to the cemetery and you start talking to dead motherfuckers, you're right. They don't know what you're talking about. None. Like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're gonna go to a cemetery? And is that, oh, that's your practice. That's your practice. You go to the cemetery to practice because they're dead. They can't tell you anything. They can't tell you how outlandish maybe it is, or how you lack evidence, or how it's bad argumentation. Like, now I got it. But this whole, like, if where'd he go? I agree with him. Did God give me high blood pressure by quickening my heart? That's, yes, I appreciate the comedic satirical approach to that, because yes, it's like, well, what does that even mean, quicken? But again, if it truly is that God is the only one that can change a person's heart or mind, why evangelize? Why talk? Why do you have a YouTube channel, bro? What's the point? Is it just to hear you talk? Which wouldn't surprise me. But what's the purpose? What's the process? And what's the payoff? I'm trying to figure it all out. I see dead people. That's an interesting thought. So we're dead in our sin when we're born, and unless we know Jesus, we remain dead. But then Paul then also says, even when you're saved, essentially, that you're a walking dead man or dead person, because to live is, or to die is live. I'm fucking it all up. To live, to die is Christ, to live is vain. Something like that. I don't have my Bible in front of me. Anyway. So no matter what, we're just dead pieces of shit. We're just carcasses running around. Man, that's not a very happy life trajectory. Boom. Hashtag death cult. Yeah, because whether you're saved or not, you're just a bunch of dead motherfuckers walking around. For me to live is, yes, thank you. Thank you. I always know when Aunt Kathy's here, she'll correct me on my misquotes. Yeah, this is, we're not even to point 2 yet. Damn it.
Very obvious, but you would be surprised at how many Christians do not understand very clearly what the gospel actually is and what it means and what exactly Christ has done for us, because there is nothing worse than someone being ready to become a Christian and they raise their hand and say, hey, okay, I get it, man. Sign me up. I'm ready to be a follower of Jesus Christ. How do I do that? And the person telling them about Christ doesn't even know how to walk them through the basic plan of salvation and explain to them exactly what the gospel is.
Oh my. It's awkward ass cry, but the reason I played the crying track is this is where he's right on this point. Like I've been not like a part of, but, and not even necessarily like commenting in the chat, but I've listened into, at this point, who fucking knows how many Christian streams, and you'll hear one Christian ask another Christian, what is the gospel message? And some of the answers you hear, I mean, I celebrate it because it's, it means less people are being presented any type of like decent argumentation. But, and if there's any Christians viewing now, maybe you're not active in the chat, I would love to know why or how or why would someone claim Christianity as their worldview or their lifestyle or whatever you want to call it? Why would you claim that, but not even understand the core principles of the gospel, or the gospels specifically? And I'm not even gonna, I was going to walk through it. I'm not even going to do it because hopefully we get at least one or two Christians that'll join. I'll put if we don't get somebody here shortly, I'll put the phone number up as well for those that may be only comfortable calling in. But the gospel message is, especially in 2022 and moving to 2023, the linchpin, the crux of Christianity is that gospel message, the good news message. And if you don't even know that, why are you evangelizing to anyone? As a former Christian, if I were still a Christian today, that even then, like, forget that I'm an atheist, that would blow my mind. Why are you saying anything and trying to be a representative of something that you don't even understand the most elementary, fundamental, basic principles of the religion, theology, or doctrine that you adhere to? That to me is a little confusing.
Now, if you are unclear about what the gospel is, I just did a video that describes very clearly exactly what the gospel is. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'm going to put a card somewhere up on the screen so you can watch that video. Okay, tip number 3, and this is huge. You have to build relationships over time. As a matter of fact, Paul says here in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6, he says, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. And so Paul here is using an analogy from gardening to help us understand the process of salvation. In other words, it may or may not happen right away. The person that you're talking to, they may or may not be ready right then and there to give up everything in their old life and just simply follow Christ. It may take some time. And so Paul says, hey, sometimes you may be the person that just plants the seeds. Other times you may be that person that has to water those seeds, and that may take a lot of time. You may have to spend time with that person to try to get to know them. And then ultimately, as I said in point 1, it's God that gives the increase. Now, how exactly should we go about doing this? Well, first tip I want to give you is to listen to them, right? You know, somebody told me a long time ago that we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth for a reason, because we're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak. And so the idea here is that you're listening to them, trying to gather up information, just getting to know them. What are their life experiences? What are
I have to, and somebody just jumped backstage, but let me finish this point up, and then I'll bring our first guest on. If you have something that's clearly true, and you have very well defined, well established, observable evidence for a thing that you claim to be true, why are you right now, almost to a T so far, teaching a sales process? This is a sales process. This is almost not verbatim, but damn near verbatim to what I taught salespeople. You engage, you build rapport, you understand the person's wants, needs, desires, what's important, what's not important. You find out, you know, what is going on in their life, that they have a need for said product or service, and you just keep it. It's why are you having to do this salesmanship process if you just got evidence, man? Just bring the evidence. That's all we want. But here, let's this guest deserves a great intro. So I'm gonna play a little music, and we'll bring the guest on. But let's do a little different song. Everybody! Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest rapper alive, David.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh,
man, look, I'll be honest. I just saw that you were live, and I needed to decompress from the morning that I just had. And I was like, I got to come on and talk to Oz. I need a friend. I mean, dude, I just got off talking to some Muslim apologists on TikTok again. But this dude I'm uploading the video. I can't wait for everyone to see it. It was amazing.
what was his name?
His name was Trinity Rejector, and he's like at Trinity Rejector, but his like name was like Jesus was Muslim or something. But man, like it was literally like what it was he goes Muhammad corrected the Torah, and I said, okay, so can Allah's words be corrupted? And he said, no. I said, okay, so and he's like, Allah gave the words of the Torah to Moses. And I said, okay, so then they were corrupted. And he's like, yeah, people corrupted them. I'm like, so what does the Quran say about Allah's words? They can't be corrupted. And then that went on a loop for like 100 times. I was like, so they were corrupted? And he's like, no, because Muhammad fixed them. I'm like, yeah, so if they were fixed, they had to be. And anyway, it's amazing. I just couldn't believe. Like I was just scratching my head. Hey, Jena. Hey, everybody.
You said Trinity Rejector?
Trinity at Trinity Rejector. Yep.
Let's see if I know.
What are you guys doing in here anyway?
We're actually talking about theist, well, specifically Christian, but theist evangelism and witnessing and prophesying, all the lion. That's what we're talking about. I'm trying to see the dude's face here, see if I know him.
He's got like these like big eyes, like he's like warped it.
Yeah, I see that. I was so he's when he doesn't show his face though.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I won't know him then. Yeah, well, like we had that conversation the other day. It's I'm surprised he actually dug into any ancient or quote unquote holy text with you, because typically Muslims will not go there until they get you to concede to the premises of the Kalam. Normally they won't, because they say there's no way for you to understand the Quran or a holy text until you understand that there is this divine creator God. So I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he even went there with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this guy was like, I don't know. If the guys I was talking to last time were like level 50, this guy was level 2. Like he obviously like, well, what does Heathen Queen say? 2 brain cells competing for third. Like, I mean, like it was like, and eventually it got to like, eventually I was like, you know, like, because he was rejecting evolution and rejecting everything, and then eventually I said something like, he said something along the lines of like, how does any of this affect any of our lives? And I was like, well, sometimes people's beliefs fly planes into buildings, and sometimes people's beliefs blow up abortion clinics, or anyway. And we started talking about he started saying that that Allah gave HIV as punishment for anal sex. And then he started saying that women and men, and I was like, holy, and then he started, and then like he went on to the conspiracy train. 9/11 was conspiracy. Tell me what happened to Building 7. And I was like, oh man. And then I just realized, I was like, I'm talking to like
a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. And I was like, wait. And I was like, just answer yes or no. I was like, moon landing fake. And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay. Chemtrails real? He's like, yes. I'm like, okay. Flat Earth? He's like, no. I'm like, I'm just trying to like get like how far do the Jews control media? Yes. Okay. Like it was just like, I just went through them all. Just, do vaccines just called autism? I'm not sure. Okay. Like it was like, and I was like, I'm getting off this. This dude's nuts. Like,
yeah, it reminds me of another guy that I've seen on TikTok. Only he shows his face, but I would suggest anyway that's the same kind of like I claim to be your adhere to Islam, but I'm not your like traditional Muslim apologist that sticks to the script. And what I mean by the script is, okay, before we go through anything, we have to go through the Kalam and understand that everything is contingent on, upon something. And once I can get you to concede that everything is contingent upon one thing, which is this creator God. So now we just have a general theism, right? I'm still even if I concede the Kalam, I still don't know how we get to Allah or Yahweh. And how is it that Christians and Muslims are using the same goddamn argument? Like, how are you both Kalam?
I know, because he started by saying like, I said, oh, so because the question was, is there evidence for God? And I said, and he goes, yep. And he goes, there's evidence for God. And he said, and I said, oh, why do you? And he goes, not evidence. And I go, oh, well, reasons. What's reasons people believe in God? And he goes, trust, faith, logic. And I said, okay, could we talk about those first two? And then he goes, yeah, sure. And then he said he had trust and faith in his God. And I was like, okay, well, if another religion had faith and trust in their God, would that be evidence to their God? And he's like, it'd be evidence for them. And I'm like, what? And like, that's when I knew I fucked up. That's when I knew that like this conversation was going nowhere real fast.
Just tell him to go buy this book.
Yeah. I haven't actually read that book.
Shout out John Loftus. Yeah, that's what cracks me up is that both of them hate each other's argumentation for their own faith, but yet
I
use
know.
a goddamn argument.
Yeah.
But real quick, I because we had, which again, everybody in the chat, thank you. And Claire just jumped in. Kit jumped in. What up, Aaron? AA Ron. I don't think I said hi to you earlier. Claire, Bree is here. Buddy, what up? What up? And yeah, go to Amazon. Just put in John Loftus, and I think it's either his first or second book, but The Outsider's Test of Faith, and Magnabosco talks about it all the time. John's a beast. John's a beast out here.
It's a good read.
Megan?
Good read link as well.
And this is what I'm gonna do real quick, David. I'll play this cringy video while I quickly refill my drink, and I'll be right back. But I will not make you the main face on here. What's up, Sadie? But
You can make me the main face, but I'll go get a drink.
Okay, so I'll play the video, and I'll still be listening, but I'll be right back.
Cool.
Maybe if we can get it.
Are there pain points? Are there some things that happen to them in their life, whether it's things at church, or maybe they were disappointed in God, or maybe they grew up in church, but something happened along the way that turned them away from God, and now they're in this place where they don't believe in God. So the more you listen, the more you're able to get an idea of their worldview, where they're coming from, and ultimately, the more you listen, the Holy Spirit is going to craft a tailor-made process, if you will, to try to share your faith with this person, as opposed to just simply doing the same cookie-cutter experience or same cookie-cutter strategy, if you will, for every single person that you meet. And then the second thing you want to do is ask them questions, like take a genuine interest in their life, so that they will know that you're not just trying to just get another notch in your belt as another convert, but you really do want to get to know them. You really want to develop a relationship with them, and you want to be friends with them, because over time, that is going to build trust. And after you put the time in, you're building trust. And after you build the trust, then you're able to share truth with this person. And not only that, it will allow you to see when the right time is for you to share the gospel, because you've been tracking with this person for some time, and God will tell you exactly when their heart is ripe and ready to hear the truth. Okay, number 4 is huge. Be ready to help them overcome the objections that they may have about the Christian faith. As a matter of fact, 1 Peter 3:15, one of my favorite verses in the New Testament, it says this: "And if someone asks you about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it." Now, some people that you meet just want to argue with you, and I'm going to talk about that in the next point.
Well, we can, now that I got my refill. Ooh, I haven't heard that one in a while.
I love that you've got like a soundboard of like wacky like tunes and stuff ready to go. Like that's so good.
And so before we take this next step, this one does deserve a drink, because this will kind of go along the lines of the idea or the premise behind a Christian and atheist walk into a bar, because you can replace Christian with Muslim or whatever, right? But before we do, now that I have a refill, let's have a drink. Sipping on gin and juice, laid back. All right, so he was just talking about the Bible, commanding or informing or suggesting, recommending, whatever the fuck word you want to use there, that you're able to explain your faith or your religion or your yada, 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 whatever. That's already problematic. I don't want an explanation. I can read the shit for myself and get an explanation. For fuck's sake, I can explain Bigfoot to you. I can explain Spider-Man to you. I can explain Superman to you. I can explain I can give you an explanation of who it is, what it is, where it comes from. That's not what we're asking for. We're not asking for an explanation. I don't care about that. I want to know, is there evidence? Is there good evidence? Is there reliable evidence? And if there is, if someone claims that there is good evidence, what is the methodology? What are the methods that we put into play or that we use or practice to arrive at said evidence or good reason to believe? And it's one thing here on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and all that, where you hear these apologists that, and there's plenty of atheists that are guilty of this too. So I want to be, I want to make sure that we're clear. There's also too many atheists that don't understand how to have a normal day-to-day conversation. Like everything has to go into philosophy talk and just try to use as many big words, complicated words together as they can to sound like they're convincing and sound like maybe they're smarter than they are. There's atheists.
Philosophers.
What's that?
Philosophers.
Yeah. At the end of the day, yes. What up, Biddy Buddha? At the end of the day, we need that evidence, because if the premise on this particular episode, the Christian, or I'll change that to theist next time. A theist and an atheist walk into a bar is, if we met each other at, and again, I used this example the other night, and I used it because I actually hate Applebee's. I hate like commercial, like big chain restaurants, right? But let's use Applebee's because everybody knows what fucking Applebee's is. David, if I was still a Christian and you're an atheist and I met you at the bar and I felt compelled to share the gospel message with you, my first go-to is not going to tell you, A, how disgusting and sinful you are. I'm not going to do that. B, it's also not going to be a contingency argument, a kalam argument, any cosmological argument. It's not going to be anything. Well, David, tell me how atheism is rational.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Right. So what I want to hear from, I guess, the non-YouTubers, the others that just, maybe they're laying in the cut and they're sitting in the cut and they want a place on the YouTubes to be able to have normal conversations. That's really what I'm trying to direct this to, or in that direction, because those are the people we engage with on a daily basis off of these screens.
Yeah.
Right? And so let's well, I'll put you on the spot, David, for example. Let's say, and we'll reverse the titles. So you and I stumble in the same Applebee's, same night, same time. You just got off work. I just got off work. And you put your old Christian hat back on. How would you tell me about God? Like if that came up and you felt compelled and you felt led of the Spirit to tell me about God and faith and why I should believe, what kind of language would you have used? How would you have tried to appeal to my heart or my emotions?
Are you asking what I actually used to do or how I would do it now, knowing what I know?
Well, let's start with what you did. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, I used to, I would say to someone, I would usually I would try and get onto a topic of like something deep, and then once that was established, I'd tell them like I used to tell people who I knew were sick or struggling with something, like, oh, I'm praying for you. Just so you know, I believe in miracles. I believe in the power of God, and I'm praying for you, and I hope that things work out. I'd be overly friendly, almost Mormon. And then if the conversation got to that stage where we would actually be having a conversation, I would point to the miracles I'd seen or the experiences I've had, and I'd be like, I just don't know how to explain these things. And
yeah, go ahead.
And then that would usually be where the conversation would go. I mean, we like, yeah. I don't know if I ever led anyone to the Lord like that, but that's what I would do.
So would we agree that, this is my opinion, but would we agree? What's up, Bill Castle? Good to see you. I never know, but welcome back. Almost Mormon. That's the key phrase of the evening. But my opinion on that, and obviously I've heard many people have that approach. I would say that that's nothing more than appeal to emotion.
Oh yeah, yeah.
and playing on a search, especially if you meet someone, Varelian, what's up? What up? Especially meet somebody that is in a, say there's a crucial conflict, and they're like, holy shit, that's a hip hop group from Chicago back. Anyway, crucial conflict. I forgot about them until that just came out of my mouth. My bad. But they're in this, like there's this conflict or this trauma or this just like fucked up situation, right? That's happened. It's so easy to play to that. It's so easy to bounce off of that it's like that's why I have really big problems with people who say they just walked in a church and boom, got saved. And it was not at least a decently long process. Because when I talk to most people, not all, but most people that have deconstructed and deconverted, it was not a 24-hour thing almost ever. It was months, years, because you're trying to now use this critical thinking and this rationale and this logic, and you actually, there's a part of you still wants it to be true. And I think you and I talked about that before. You still want it to be true, but the more you keep dissecting it and breaking it down, actually the more it falls apart. Where I feel like when people go into a church service or they have that type of conversation because of the whatever the situation is in their life that's traumatic or just fucked up, whatever, they're looking for something. They want something to be true regardless of the investigation.
I wonder, that's a good point, because I wonder, because people who are looking, you approach them that way. And I wonder if that's why Ray Comfort approaches things differently, where he brings them, he goes, do you know what he does? He's like little technique, like, well, have you ever told a lie? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, so well, what is someone who tells a lie? It's like, a liar. So it's like, so you're a liar. And like he gets you to, yeah. So I wonder if that's why Ray Comfort does that instead of like, doing it that way. Like he approaches it differently because he's just talking to people going about their day-to-day lives in the street, where if he was at a church, he would probably approach it differently.
I would say he's just doubling down on the guy in the video that we've been watching. He's just doubling down instead of saying, well, in general terms, people are born this way. No, he's just going straight for the jugular, where he's saying, David, have you ever lied? Okay, that makes you a liar. David, have you ever looked at a person in lust? Okay, you're a sinner. David, have you ever stolen anything? You're a thief. And so he's just going straight. It's the same shit, right? It's just more direct and like I said, straight to the jugular. But here's the thing. I've yet to see, and this is 100%. And for everybody that's part of Tang Gang, you already know what I mean when I say this. If not, you can ask me and I'll explain it all. But this is what we would call, oh man, I thought I had a banner for this and I don't. But this here on with Tang Gang, we call anecdotal. But I'm yet to see anybody that has been, and when I say convinced, I don't mean in a moment, but that they accepted Christ and are still Christians today. That their conversion experience was based on that you were a sinner, you're a piece of shit. Right? There may have been an emotional conversion in the moment, but I don't know about you, David. I don't know anyone that I ever was around or knew of that was converted in that manner that still today remains a Christian.
Hard, because I think that the majority of people who remain Christian, and it's hard because you need to define a Christian, because like a lot of the time I think people sorry Sorry. But yeah, a lot of the time when people like call themselves Christians, I'm like the way I used to get around it when I was too scared to admit that I wasn't a Christian is people say are you still a Christian? And I'm like, well, it depends how you define Christian. Do you think you're a Christian? And they go, yeah. And I go, yeah, then I'm a Christian. Because like these people were just fucking wilding out, just doing whatever they want. So I was just like, yeah. But in my perspective, like, how do you determine who is a Christian and what isn't a Christian? I don't know. But I think that to answer your question, I think that the people who probably stick around the longest are people who are like lifelong church members, right? Like,
Did I lose you?
huh?
Oh, I thought I lost you. I thought you froze for a minute. My bad.
Oh no. Just like
pause.
it's like lifelong people who've been in church their whole life are usually people who stick around, who are still Christian. A lot of people, like even I went to ministry college with, they're all like kind of off the wagon.
Yeah,
one got really into psychedelics and is been in the mental institution all the times. One of them got divorced to someone and then got remarried to them. I think she's doing okay. Another one doesn't believe in God. Another one, like the head teacher, senior pastor of church, then lost that church. Like it's all just been a bit of a shit show, really.
Yeah. Hold on, I want to pull this up here. When Christians have been told about the gifts of the Spirit, they use that as an opening to pick out a few to give an answer to someone who may be feeling down and spread the gospel. And yeah, bingo. That's you said it
perfect.
Way better than I did. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's one of the dangerous parts of religion. And shout out to the hashtag GOAT, the late great Hitch, Christopher Hitchens, and why I prescribe to it, and until convinced otherwise, probably always will going forward. Is religion poisons everything. And what I mean by that is religion is man's puppet. Okay, if we take religion and we put it on a table and humans don't get to touch it, they don't get to play with it, as Hitch said, they don't get to use it, they can't weaponize it. Religion is harmless. It's bullshit. It's made up. It's make-believe, right? It's not until humans and their obsession with control and power and manipulation and building tribes and and then sustaining those things, that is why religion poisons everything, because now you can use this as a weapon to control and to own and to literally tell people they're pieces of shit. And they believe it.
Yeah. It's one of those things too where this is what that Muslim dude was talking about. He's like, it doesn't affect our day-to-day lives. I'm like, it does. I'm like, it does, because it affects how you view members of the LGBT community. It affects how you, like, your worldview affects how you move about in the world, like how you do things, like, and like, so it is important. It is important to have these discussions. It's important that people root their beliefs in reality, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And let's use an example that I think in the grand scheme of all the conversations we have here, that this would probably be like the least, as far as from a Christian worldview, the least controversial or contentious or hot button type issue is, most people that know Jena, most people that know me, you may not like me, you may think I'm an asshole, but the one thing that you will come to know is I'm always going to tell the truth. I'm always going to be honest exactly how I feel, and that above all is important to me, right? And Jena's
Yeah.
we share that, but Jen and I we're good people. We're not the best, not perfect, but we're good people and we love people. But Jen and I, sooner than later, will be living together, or as her family and parts of my family say, shacking up together because we're not married. Right?
Jenna needs to get on that one knee, give you a big ring, Oz.
I mean that would defeat all of the toxic masculinity shit in a heartbeat. I'm bougie as fuck, dude. She wants to buy me a big old diamond ring. But like even something like that in 2022 that shouldn't like none of it should in reality, but that should be so far removed from being controversial in 2022 that people that love them that love themselves and care about themselves enough to be authentic with everyone around them and love each other enough to say, I want to commit to sharing my day-to-day life with you. Why aren't you just concerned with us being happy? Why do you have to inject all of this other nonsense into it? Why can't you just say, I'm happy that you're happy? Why can't it be that?
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is like to play Christian advocate, to play Jesus advocate, devil advocate. Anyway, play devil's advocate for Christian.
Jesus advocate. That sounds awesome.
Jesus advocate. Like they if they believe in like hell, right? Like I actually commend I actually, like it's kind of like on one aspect, if they really believe in hell and that their friends are going there, it's kind of disgusting that they're not like out proselytizing and preaching all the time or trying to do their best. It's like, do you really care about me? Like I'm going to hell. Like what? Like that's horrible. Like, but on the other hand, it's like you can see that that's their perspective. It's that they can't be happy for you because you're living in sin or you're not a Christian or whatever. So, yeah, hence the problem.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's what the fact that we're in 2022 and this is still an issue is an issue. That in and of itself is an issue. Pull this comment up. What's up, Thunderbird? Thought I was born again with filling of the Spirit, but notice same experience through the fiddle and discovered why some religions say the fiddle is of the devil because they wanted to control me. And there's many sects of Christianity, whether it's a fiddle, a guitar, drums, bass guitar, some of them even a piano. Like there's no music. Like,
wait, so
none.
It's Thunderbird. Are you saying that like the actual fiddle, like the musical instrument, made you feel like you were filled with the Spirit as well, or like you felt similar feelings?
Well,
that's interesting.
Unless I'm misreading this, I think it was he or they. I'm sorry, they felt this way, and because of them wanting to play the fiddle. And again, unless I'm misreading this, playing the fiddle, because there's been different churches that I've been to because I played drums in a church. They thought like I was Satan.
Yeah. African voodoo, that's where it comes from, drums or something, right? That was the old talking point.
The birthing point of hip hop. Yay. But real quick,
the music from a fiddle.
Stephanie, what's up? Good to see you. Mike Burgandy, long time no see, man. Good to see you. And Amy Newman's in the house. Sinning means to offend God. What a bullshit nonsense concept.
That's awesome.
Yay. And we did get.
It's funny. I feel like I just have to drink when you drink, so like I'm just taking a sip. But it's funny.
We be drinking now.
Thunderbird, yes, you've got up music from the fiddle. My wife actually said the same thing, and it kind of shocked me that when she used to feel what she called the Holy Spirit in church, she had those. She said her words, the exact same feelings going to a musical, seeing Wicked or whatever. And I was like, wow, damn. I never experienced anything like that, but I've definitely felt powerful emotions listening to music and stuff. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it really does. And I forget all the, because there's and for the record, I'm exaggerating. There is like 3 billion different versions of Christianity. And, so I grew up in a church, and, most of my, or all of my Christian years was in a church or churches that loved music, full band, drums, guitar, bass, piano, organ, congos, bongos, nongos, banda, the whole goddamn thing. Right. And they danced, and they had a mime team, and they had they did all that. They thought, and they all of that was derived from the book of Psalm with David and the tambourines and
a mime team.
A mime team.
Not like mimes.
Yes, that.
No, what? What? Where's that in the book of Psalms? What?
Yeah,
Tell me about that, please. What is that about?
It was just another form of dancing unto the Lord, just like when David turned into a male stripper for God.
So wait. So is it? So could people like come up on stage and like do slut drops and like pole dancing for God? Like,
I mean,
in that church?
Technically, you couldn't have told them not to, right? As long as they're doing it unto the Lord.
Dude, we should go to that church. Just pop in.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Miming for Jesus. That's just so like, like, what do you do? Like, is it like spiritual? Like, that's weird, man. I've never heard that.
But I thought that was probably the most accurate of all the different forms of worship they had, because it's most like Yahweh. Never says anything. You have no idea what the fuck he actually means. You're just like, I hear the things. What are you saying? What is this real? Is this real right now? But this one right here. Oh nope, sorry. David male stripper. Oh, that would be hot. But the interpretive dancing. Oh fuck.
Oh yeah, the fucking ribbons. Do you remember the ribbons?
The ribbons and the banners.
And dude, in my church we had like this group I used to call the Bethelers, because they were obsessed with Bethel Church, and they thought Hillsong wasn't holy enough and all that stuff, and they used to run around with just like a bottle of canola oil or whatever type of oil, just anointing people, and it was like you just feel this oil dripping on your forehead. Like they weren't like deacons or part of the service, they just took it upon themselves to be led and just start oiling everyone's forehead. Oh, and we had this one this one dude who was obsessed with like finding gold dust, because that was like the big thing at the time. And he's like, we found gold dust. And it was just some lady's makeup, because everyone had been touching each other. And it was just someone had sparkly makeup in the youth group. And they're like, look, everyone check your hands.
I'd have been like, yeah, we found gold dust. He wrestles in the WWF. We found gold dust.
Funny story though. That same guy he broke his neck, and in a prayer meeting, they cut his neck brace off, right? And dug their knuckles into his neck to prove it was healed. And it was like he didn't have any pain, and it was like fine for 3 days until he got rushed back to emergency because his neck.
That's called adrenaline, motherfuckers.
Yeah, well, I think the neck brace was just there to keep it in place, because there was a huge risk of it causing more damage if it moved. And then when they cut it off and pushed the knuckle in, they're like, it must be healed, adrenaline, like you said. And then 3 days later, he must have, like, because he didn't have the neck brace, he must have re-broke it, rushed off for emergency. And everyone was like, why did this happen? Well, this is so bizarre. Like, this is so... Like, and everyone's probably thinking, like, I know I was thinking, did he have like sin in his life? Did he do something? Like, or like, you know.
Yeah, motherfuckers, ye without sin, cast that first stone. See if we don't do the same shit to you. No, that reminds me. I told you, I actually recently shared this with Jena. I don't even know if I've ever shared this on the channel, not because there's anything to hide. It's just never been relevant until you brought that up. I remember I've talked about my wreck back in 2002. That's the one that I was in, and it was 100% my fault. I'd been on like a 3-day alcohol and cocaine binge, and it was 100% my fault. But I ended up getting T-boned on the driver's side of the car I was driving by a full-size economy dump truck. And let me just tell you, Dump truck versus a Dodge Neon. The dump truck wins every time.
Not a good time.
Not at all. And it crushed my shoulder, my shoulder bone. And they say, and for the medical people that are present, you can. What's up, Gur? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they told me it's either the second or third most difficult bone in your body to break, which is your shoulder blade. And in the X-ray, my shoulder blade just looked like you took a pane of glass and just dropped it on concrete. Like it was just. So there was that. I broke every single rib on my left side, the driver's side, and then the neurologist and everything and the specialists thought that I may have brain damage. They never confirmed that, but still to this day, I would say yes, that's probably accurate.
I was gonna make a joke, but you did. That's great.
But the reason I share all that is through that process. This part I have shared live several times, but through that process, of course, my entire family being in the ministry. And I would just had somebody else jump in the backstage. Give me 1 minute. Let me finish this, and I'll bring you on. But obviously, my entire family and sphere of influence being believers. They're and I can't remember how long now I was in ICU, but because they had to resuscitate me twice. Like it was bad, dude. It was fucking bad. And they came in and was like, "Oz, the only reason you're still here is because God has a plan, and He ordained this from the day you were born. And the only reason you're still here is because you have a purpose." And me being scared to fucking death because I knew I almost died. I'm like, okay, God, I'll never do this again. If it means I get up and I can walk, because at that point I thought I was paralyzed. My body was in shock. Like I couldn't move much of my body. And come to find out, that's all it was my body was just in shock because all the pain. Well, finally, when I get out of the hospital, I gave that backstory to share this because it kind of goes along with what you're talking about. The first full weekend I have out of ICU, I go to my mom and my brother's church, and one of the what do they call them now? Associate pastors, side bitch pastors, whatever they call them now. There's the altar call, right? And I'm feeling all the feels, man. Feeling all the feels. Amazing grace, who saved a wretch like me, right? And I go up to the altar to quote unquote rededicate my life. And this associate pastor or whatever, and he's not a small man. Out of nowhere, David, and I have a very, very high tolerance or threshold for pain. This motherfucker came up. It was my left shoulder blade. He comes up. I don't, and literally my arm's in a sling, like, and you could tell, like, I got bruises, cuts, everything everywhere. It's obvious I just got fucked up, right? This motherfucker comes up from behind me, and like, if my hand is, this hand is a shoulder blade, he comes up behind me, like yelling, borderline screaming in tongues, right? And
oh, he Smith Wigglesworthed you.
Yeah. And I remember one of the few times that just due to pain, look, I hit this so far, about knock my watch off. But he hit me so hard, dude. And because of, all the broken bones and everything else, I literally fell to my knees, and it wasn't because I felt the spirit.
Oh no. And he's like, praise the Lord.
Yeah. Of course, then it turned into the Kenneth Copeland thing, where it's like, he's not hurt. He's not hurt. This is the Lord working.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, he hits a dude like you know how they put their hand on their foreheads? Like, yeah, he put his hand on this dude's forehead so hard he tipped the entire wheelchair.
Oh, that's pleasant.
And then told everybody that, oh no, he's okay. He's not hurt. That was a spirit. That was the spirit. But you can see in his eyes, he's like, oh fuck.
That's so good.
That's a lawsuit. But yeah, dude, I'll never forget that, man, when he like slapped me right on that shoulder blade. And it was like that kind of pain that, like, hits to the gut of your stomach where you feel like you're nauseous, you're going to throw up because it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
Like that's what it felt like. And I'm like, no. And I couldn't talk. I'm like, no, this isn't the fucking spirit. This is I'm in pain. This hurts. This hurts.
Wow.
We let's hold on. We got to do a proper introduction. So everybody, get your drinks ready. Sipping on gin and juice. And my money on my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we're proud to present Nitty.
Yes. What up?
Oh, I was
Hey.
hoping it was that Nitty. Yeah.
Little Tickles in the house. Little Tickles in the house.
Woo!
Dude, your channel's getting some subs now, man. It's awesome. Everyone go subscribe to Nidimus. His channel. Someone put his channel in the thing. You're putting some good videos out. It's good.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing my response to the Spider-Man analogy. And I even got Camille Gregor to make a comment on that video, which is a big deal to me because if you aren't familiar with Cam and Cam's work, so Cam and Cam are two guys who have done the hard work and gone into ancient Greek texts, ancient Hellenized Jewish texts, and looked at the Homeric and Greek influences on the New Testament and clearly displayed the correlations between those and what we have in the New Testament. So you should subscribe not just to me, but to Cam and Cam. I'll try and find their channel here in a minute, but yeah, their work on textual criticism and understanding like the legendary hypothesis of Hellenized Jewish belief in Jesus or a Christ as the Messiah is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
But Jesus is still a myth, though, right?
The Christ is a myth.
Same. Well,
Same
see, Eddie, we're talking. It's got to be the same thing, or it's not.
Okay. Jesus the Christ is a myth. Yes.
So Jesus is a myth.
But it's good. But yeah, so yeah, the Spider-Man analogy.
I love that you talk to him like a disappointed child, like Nitty. It's so myth. It's so funny.
Here, let me get that link on.
Just quickly, I'll just to touch on what you were saying before about your near-death experience. I had like a bit of a near-death experience. I'll go into it properly one day on stream, but essentially I was gonna drown. I was in spearfishing equipment, but I was like in 10-foot swell. Like I don't know why the fuck I was out there, and I was gonna die real quick. And I realized the situation I was in within about 30 seconds, and I calculated my odds of survival because I couldn't keep myself above the water, and I had these huge fins on. And I realized that there was a greater chance of me dying than living in that situation. And I calculated it. And I thought to myself, I better pray and get right with God. And I thought to myself, I'll pray and I'll say, God, if you can get me out of this, I'll, rededicate my life to you. And then I realized, oh shit, I actually don't believe in God. And then I went, oh fuck. And that was the moment I was like, I'm all alone. Like oh shit. And then I really panicked. Like that's when I was like, I found out I really didn't believe in God and I was about to die. And then I was like, and there's less than a 50% chance I'm going to live. And the only way I got out of that is I swam into the rocks and just got minced up. I'll show you the photos, but like just blood everywhere. My legs were like just all shredded. Like it was bad. But yeah.
Wow.
That sounds terrible. Yeah.
It was terrible.
God damn.
But to find out that you don't believe in God, to realize you don't believe in God as you think you're dying was like a oh shit. Like like people always say, oh, just deconvert on you disconvert on your deathbed. I'm like, I don't think it works like that. Or at least not for me. It doesn't work like that. I can't just pretend and then just make it work.
Yeah, I think like you sharing that. So that immediately, real quick, Good to see you, brother. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do the late nights, and I'm gonna have to jump off here soon as well. But thanks for hanging out. But as soon as you say that, it instantly brings to mind Dave Warnock, and you know, someone that spent majority of his years being a Christian and a minister and a pastor, and now being diagnosed with a disease and illness that he knows, like, that there's no exact end date, so to speak, or curtain call, but he knows it's going to happen way quicker than the rest, and he's now been on a fast track in that direction. But yet still, when asked, well, you know, doesn't that like cause some type of want or desire to run back to that, or cling to that hope, or that thought of an eternal life and a new body, a new being in the state of ecstasy and perfection. And I love Dave's answer almost always is, well, no, that's still not real. Like when it's over, it's over. And I'm going to, that's why I love his moniker. I'm going to die out loud. I'm going to live the best life I can live until that last time I take a breath, and I'm going to be proud of what I did while I was here. And, that's a big deal, especially for those of us that are former believers, because
you can hear the Christians though saying, "Oh, the pride of man," like and all that, like, and you're like, "Oh man, rough."
Yeah, the pride of man. But yet, when we ask for evidence for this place called, we won't even have to talk about. We don't even have to talk about hell. Let's talk about this heaven place. Like what? Yeah. Other than you being obsessed with it, because it is bigger than you, and it makes you feel good. Other than that, what good reason do we have to believe or know that place is an actual destination?
Well, because they say, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty." That's why
I can say that right now. It doesn't mean heaven's real.
Oh, it says it, mate. So I mean, were you there? Were you there when God created the earth? All right.
Nope, neither were the Christians. That's the problem.
Yeah, but we have a perfect word of God that's told us about it. So checkmate, atheists. Science destroyed.
Oh, okay. So David, just because somebody writes something down on a piece of paper, does it make it true?
No, but can I please come onto this show one time and just play the role of arrogant Christian? Because I think I could nail it.
Well, I mean, I actually love that. I love steel manning and doing those. So
no, not steel manning. I'm gonna just be annoying. I'm just gonna be Kent Hovind on steroids. I'm gonna be Kent Hovind, Matt Powell. You know, in like Dragon Ball Z, as like two people combine into one. Like I'm gonna do that with Matt Powell, Kent Hovind, and my former self.
Look, you atheists don't have a substantial standard for objective morality.
Whack off some atheists,
or even a foundation for logic and reason in your worldview.
That sounds kind of like Jordan Peterson.
You do not know nothing about proteins.
David, no, please.
This is what we're gonna do.
I do have to go. I just realized my wife and I have a scan for our little love child, so I've got to head off to an appointment. But thanks for having me on.
You lay out the gauntlet. You lay out the gauntlet, and I was about to give you 10 minutes to be the badass Christian. But
sorry, I'll have to prepare and go and come back. What with my diss track? That's just never coming.
I'm still waiting for that. It's been what, a month now?
It's gonna be like years. I'm just gonna keep talking about it. Like, oh, just you wait. The diss track. It's gonna be like Detox. It just talked about for 12 years and never actually
happens.
Look out for Detox. All right, guys. Well, thanks for having me on. I'll duck off.
You're awesome.
All right, Nitty, everybody's ready for your freestyle battle. Go.
In your worldview, it doesn't make any sense. In your worldview, it doesn't have any pants. In your worldview, it doesn't have any value. In your worldview,
protein.
It's I'm good.
No, I just anytime David comes on now, I have to like get everybody
right
after he was like, I'm with TANG gang and Heathen queen's a bitch.
Something.
That's exactly what he said. I was dead. I was like, what did that have to do with the Heathen queen's a bitch? But no, how are you feeling, man? How are you doing?
Hold on a second. I had a request in the chat. Let me see if I can get the general tune of the song. Each day is a color, and that color is green. I'm good. No, I'm doing okay. I had a great weekend being on Rebecca Bread of Life's channel and doing a response live stream to Trinity Radio, our favorite Theo Bros, Braxton, and
Oh God, Mr. Pritchett.
what do you mean? No, it was actually Braxton, Michael Jones, and John McCrae of What Do You Mean? They did a video about the Spider-Man analogy, and then I went through and was like, wow, Michael Jones went through a bunch of shit that takes 20 minutes to debunk because he gish gallops through a bunch of historians in 30 seconds on what they say and how that proves Christianity but really doesn't. It was fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
No.
Uh,
And it's just more stuff that makes you frustrated at apologists overstating the case and not being intellectually honest about the information that we have on ancient Judaism. That's what my last stream is entirely about.
Yeah. Well, here real quick. What's up, KCA Randy? Says I call Pritchett bad cop.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm sure there's a lot of things, but I love the way Mystic Pritchett, just being a rapper and loving poetry, just Mystic Pritchett, like it just hits. You know what I mean?
Mr. Pritchett.
Makes you feel a certain way. Mystic Pritchett.
Mr. Pritchett.
Because every time I hear the motherfucker talk, he's missing the mark. I've yet to see him hit the mark. Mystic Pritchett. He did one the other day. It was yesterday, I think. I did review a little bit of video. He did a solo video on why digital, like YouTube, Facebook, yada, why digital Christian content is not taking away from people like physically going to church. And all this he was throwing out, I'm like, dude, you understand, like, this is counterproductive right now.
Yeah, because like my former Christian belief in community was definitely like in person's the best, right? Like we would get up a text like 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, and Paul longed like a nursing mother. His little Paul titties were just so hungry to get Christian suckles that he had to have them in person with him to influence them. And our argument was like that technology was depersonalizing our culture. And so that's why we're so committed to all the meetings that we have during the week, right? We would pull up a New Testament text that said like personal meetings are so important. What the fuck is wrong with you, digital horny Christians? Like, you need to be meeting face to face. Like, you got to have your baby Christian suckling on your discipleship titties day in and day out.
It says in their book, do not forsake
meeting together.
gathering.
Right? Hebrews 10:25.
Yeah, if your brethren and sisterins and things, like, don't do that, because as soon as you're not doing that, all of a sudden you're not being indoctrinated, and the well's not being poisoned. And
I hope that makes listeners laugh, by the way.
That I hope so. Because I mean that's what it is, and that's why I believe. What's up, Leo? Native Atheist in the building.
Whoop.
But yeah, it's and I think not all of it, obviously, but I think a good chunk of this like mass exodus that we're watching, which I love, by the way, but that we're watching, that we're experiencing, is the silver lining. I want to make sure I say that very clearly. The silver lining, because the death toll and everything due to COVID is fucked, and none of us ever wanted that. If we could rewind and never do that, I think a lot of us would, or most of us should say, no, we would never wish that. But trying to find any type of silver linings, in regards to our conversations and what we talk about here, is the one thing is, with everything having to shut down for a chunk of time, there was a lot of people that realized they didn't need church.
Yep.
There was
me.
a lot of people, yeah. And not only do I not need it, it's all of a sudden, well, hold on. I've now taken this time to entertain other opinions and other views, where as otherwise I just still on Sundays and Wednesdays and whatever night I would have been in church and I wouldn't have invested this time into this. But all of a sudden, like, brains are being broken.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on, I've been told this my entire life, Nitty. I've been told, and you're telling me that there's something different? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, it doesn't help Christians on either side of the political spectrum, right? Because now they're faced with this dilemma. What do I believe is really true, right? I have people that I would attest are trying to hold to love of Jesus and belief in the Bible, and yet they completely disagree with me about this historical event, the election of 2020. What do I do with their beliefs about this historical event? Do I say that they're deceived? Do I say that they are sincerely mistaken? Do I say that they're in the wrong communities? Like, what do I need to do to jump this epistemic hurdle for myself to rationalize the fact that I have to affirm these people, by definition, are Christians, and yet we fundamentally disagree about a recent historical event that is shorter in time span to my life experience than the resurrection of Christ or the writing of the resurrection of Christ? You have to tamp down that cognitive dissonance somehow as a Christian believer who is rational and still believes that Joe Biden is president. And that's where I was, right? Where I watched people march on the Capitol, demand for the hanging of the vice president, and then was like, what the fuck is going on? They believe a complete counter narrative to me that I think is legend, right? And aggrandizing of what actually occurred. So
Yeah.
the whole damn thing, like, just screws Christians up so bad. Anyway.
Yep. You're good. I wasn't trying to rush you. I knew a couple
good.
people had private messaged me and wanted a link, and I was just wanting to,
Okay.
that way I didn't have to send a bunch of messages. I can just put it up here.
Right.
But no, it's, well, even for those that I think most are familiar, if not, you've been living under a rock. But Owen at Telltale, he focuses on this part a lot. But there's literally Christians, Nitty, right now that still swear on their God that Trump is president, and the shit got stolen.
Yep. Oh.
Like it's and Peter W says, I don't know any Christians who don't think Joe Biden is president. Then I'll say this: I'm glad you don't. I'm glad you don't. But
right,
there are those people, and I'm glad you don't know them. And I think it actually says more about the circle of company that you keep, and I mean that in a good way,
the epistemic bubble that you're in.
Yeah, that's a good thing if you don't know those people, but they do exist. They very
much exist. Yeah. And they're going to Arizona FBI buildings. They are colliding their cars with Cincinnati FBI buildings, right, for their sincere conviction that Donald Trump is innocent and he ought to be president. So, die for a lie apologetics is dead in the water right now.
Yep. And yeah, sadly, and I know. I'll say this. I'll speak for Nitty, and I know Nitty. You tell me if I'm talking on my ass.
Sure.
I don't think either Nitty or I want those people to have those opinions or have those.
No.
We don't want that. We don't wish that. And part of it is like it's laughable because it's so far fetched, right?
Mhm.
But it is still very concerning because they do exist and they are trying to push all these weird, like, problematic's not even the right word, but really fucked up ideas.
Destructive.
Yeah, these really fucked up ideas that, as before you had joined, Nitty, Dave and I were talking about, is they have these beliefs, and regardless of what beliefs we hold, beliefs do influence and or impact the way we behave and the way we make decisions. That's where that's where it becomes extremely dangerous. Is because it does help to influence or even dictate the way they vote, the way they make decisions, the way they treat the people in their community around them in their day-to-day lives. That's what's dangerous.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And they're the ones, donning body armor, carrying around their guns in public, and signs that advocate for their belief that things ought to be a particular way that, Peter, thankfully you don't agree with, but they're a threat to us, right? They're a threat to our very existence. In fact, some of them are so bold to say that we ought to be publicly executed for our non-belief.
Yep.
So there's that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, because I am out of time. So hold on real quick.
You're good.
Nitty's, where did it go? I just had it pulled up. Damn it.
Nidamos the Animated Atheist is my official YouTube
Yeah, but I
URL now.
had the link to pull it up here. Damn it. There it is.
Yeah, so
what do you got coming up, Nitty?
I am trying to schedule something this Wednesday because I am kid-free that evening.
Oh.
And so I'm hoping to have some kind of open invite live stream to talk about what I believe and don't believe this Wednesday, starting at 6 Eastern until whenever. So it could be a 2-hour stream, it could be a 4-hour stream. I don't care. I'm just going to leave it as like an open room. I'm hoping to finish a book review on Stephen Tiger's Doctrine Impossible. I might do that as a live stream with just my notes and then invite people on afterwards. But that is a fantastic book on kind of looking at how people idolize and believe the Bible first and foremost, apart from any evidence, and then dealing with like the internal coherence of those beliefs and whether those are logical or rational to hold after you kind of put them under the microscope of both lived experience and like even scriptural and historical data. So I'm excited for that. And then the other thing that I want to do is that I'm actively pursuing a couple people who have left my culty church and trying to host them on my channel for discussions about what we believed, how we acted, and how that is and some people would say a distortion, like some Christians would say a distortion of Christian belief, but I would say is like a natural outcome of Christian belief. So yeah, that's what I have coming up.
Hell yeah. And normally I don't do this, but I love those conversations. That one, the last one you're talking about with people from your former church and you being involved, if you would like someone to interview you guys as a group, that way you don't have to worry about you being the one, like you can actually interact with them as former part of that congregation or church or whatever. You interact. I would love, and again, this is me 100% inviting myself, but if you want someone to come and interview you guys as a group on your channel,
Oh, that's awesome.
I would love to do, because that's my favorite shit to do. So
yeah, that's actually a really fun idea. We can talk about that more on Twitter or Discord or whatever, but
yeah, just throw it out there. I 100% invited myself. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's really good, because I think it also can help resolve some like pretensions about talking about that kind of experience or whatever.
Yeah, because I think it's different. Yeah, because I know how I would feel, and if it was that group, I would prefer someone else asking those questions rather than me. Just being honest, so I think
right. I don't know if you guys caught my previous stream though of me interviewing. I actually had someone that I personally was very involved in their faith journey come on my channel, and it's called like Deconverted Dwellian, I think is what I titled that stream. And I personally was involved in this person's conversion and faith journey for about 4 years. So when you go back and listen to that, keep that in mind, right? Okay. That I'm not just a leaver of some kind of mega church interviewing some rando from my particularly cultish Christian denomination. No, like I was intimately involved in this person's faith experience and their journey, both integrating into that community and then leaving it. And so a lot of that interview actually exposes a lot of what I was thinking as a strong adherent member and what he was thinking as a joinee and then leaver. And so that is 2 hours of your life that are going to be enriched if you listen to all of it.
Oh yeah, and I definitely will. See the as you know, and the rest of those stories are my favorite. I could spend hours listening and engaging in that. But we do have a super chat and one other comment before we go, and I do have to bounce because I'm getting ready to meet a buddy. Okay, yeah. We got this. We got to do the drink thing.
Oh, I'm drinking.
Sipping on gin and juice, baby. We have that, and then I want to say, Peter W., thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and just based on your comments, I'm assuming, and I never like to assume because, as I learned from Chris Farley, that makes an ass out of you and me. But I'm gonna assume. But are these people sincerely following the teachings of Jesus? ? If the behavior is so deviant from the core teaching, I don't think we should let them appropriate the Christian faith. I don't know. After being a former Christian of 30 years, being in the ministry, doing the thing, I don't even know if I would allow myself to take the step and say that they're not allowed to appropriate themselves as Christians, because what's problematic about this ancient book is anybody can take away from and interpret and then apply to their lives what they want from that text, and that's why we have so many denominations. So my invitation to you is I'll be doing these particular streams several times a week now, and if not, if you want to do just a one-on-one, we can do like a what's your story or whatever channel, and I would love to talk to you about it, because I think that's one of the things that's so highly problematic, and specifically about Christianity, even more than Islam, is there are so many divides, and there are so many interpretations, and there are so many Christians that say, well, I'm the right version of Christianity and I Christian the correct way. And this is the one true belief, and this is the one true doctrine or theology. So I would love to have you on, and we could talk about it. I'm right now going to put our email.
And even this Wednesday, when I post my stream and my link, that I'm more than happy to entertain that conversation as well.
Yeah, and the more, the more of them we have, the better. And you know,
Yep.
As long as we're not doing proteins and all the crazy Kermit the Frog.
When you bring up ERVs, you just don't know how that is just fantastic evidence that there is a designer behind all of these.
You don't understand that whey protein, just whey protein. Therefore God. But no, Nitty, thanks for jumping on, and I'll give
absolutely
backstage here in a second. But everybody in the chat, thank you. Obviously, we've had the serious, we've had the funny, because that's what we do. Hashtag Tang Gang. That's what the fuck we do. But love y'all, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Oh, I need to make sure. Oh, fuck me, I can't not do this.
Wait, before we end,
yes.
What does Nitty love?
Huh?
What does Nitty love?
Nitty loves Snuggies.
And
me?
Nitty loves titties.
Oh, my bad. Nitty does love titties. I forgot about that. Nitty loves titties. And so do I. As a matter of fact, so do I. But tomorrow night, guys.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, shit. It's going down. Drew, genetically modified skeptic, will be joining us for an episode of What's Your Story? And go ahead. This is the one time I'll do the proper shit that a YouTuber is supposed to do. Hit the bell, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit all the fucking goddamn buttons. Just don't do it twice. Because if you do it twice, that means you ain't gonna get shit. But this is tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss that shit. It's gonna be badass. So let me pull the video back up now that I messed all that up. But no, love y'all, appreciate y'all, and holla at you tomorrow night.
It's been a minute, I've been a minute. Fucking up the premise now, you can call me Guinness. I dropped all that bullshit, give me one sentence. Fuck your opinions, yep, y'all know me. I need that evidence, and don't insult my intelligence. Nah, show me. Need that evidence. 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 Yeah, you're dramatic, erratic. Your tactics, bombastic. There's no Socratic. But those gymnastics, that's problematic. You're emphatic, static. You assume's automatic. But that's symptomatic. Especially when I demand proof and you don't have it. Show me. Need that evidence. Show me. Need the evidence. Show me. Need the evidence. Show me.
Oh, that's for the real apples. Yeah, man. You looking like the devil.